The Clockwork Betrayal. The grand hall of Andavar Castle shimmered with light from the intricate chandeliers powered by the kingdom's most precious resource, Christium, the rare magical crystals that fueled their world. King Alden sat on his ornate throne, his stern but kind face illuminated by the warm glow. Beside him stood Princess Lyria, her hands nervously clutching the edges of her long coat smeared with grease and soot. Her father had long since accepted her penchant for tinkering, but the nobles surrounding them looked on with poorly disguised disdain. "Father," Lyria began, her voice wavering slightly but gaining strength with each word, "I present to you the Clockwork Sentinel, a guardian designed to protect you and our kingdom." At her signal, the great doors at the far end of the hall opened. A towering automaton marched in, its joints clicking with precision. Its gleaming brass body reflected the light, and its eyes glowed a soft blue, the unmistakable hue of Christium energy. The nobles gasped, some stepping back as the machine approached and knelt before the king. "Magnificent!" Alden said, rising to examine the automaton. "Lyria, this is remarkable." Relief flooded her face. "It will guide you tirelessly, Father. It can anticipate threats, withstand any attack, and act without hesitation." The hall erupted in murmurs. Some praised her ingenuity, while others whispered about the dangers of relying too heavily on machines. The automaton bowed its head slightly, as if acknowledging the skepticism. "Let us test it," Alden said, his curiosity piqued. "Show me how it defends." Lyria smiled and clapped her hands. A servant appeared with a wooden practice sword and took a hesitant swing at the king. The automaton moved with blinding speed, intercepting the blow and disarming the servant with precision but no malice. The court erupted in applause, but one figure in the shadows watched with narrowed eyes. The next morning the king awoke to chaos. Servants were running through the halls, their faces pale. Alden stepped into the corridor to see the automaton standing motionless, its blue eyes now a deep red. Around it lay the wreckage of shattered furniture and broken crystal lamps. "Lyria!" Alden bellowed. Within moments his daughter arrived, her tools clinking in her belt. "What happened?" she asked, her voice tight with worry. "Your automaton has gone rogue," Alden shouted. "It destroyed half the dining hall and nearly injured the guards who tried to stop it." Lyria knelt before the machine, her hands moving deftly over its surface. "This doesn't make sense. It shouldn't act without explicit orders." "Yet it did," Alden said gravely. "And it's dangerous." Lyria's heart sank. She had spent months designing the automaton, pouring her soul into every gear and circuit. "Let me fix it, Father. Give me a day to figure out what went wrong." "And if you cannot?" Alden asked, his voice heavy. "Then you must destroy it," she said quietly, the words tasting like ash. In her workshop, Lyria disassembled parts of the automaton, her fingers trembling as she examined each piece. Hours passed and frustration mounted. The automaton's core, a sphere of Christium encased in protective metal, pulsed erratically. That shouldn't be possible. The core was designed to regulate itself. A knock at the door startled her. It was Elias, the royal steward and one of the few people she trusted. "Princess, I've heard whispers in the court," he said, closing the door behind him. "Some believe your invention's failure is deliberate." "Deliberate?" she echoed, frowning. "You mean sabotage?" Elias nodded. "There are those who dislike your influence, my lady. Your work threatens the old ways." Lyria's mind raced. Who would dare tamper with the automaton, knowing it could endanger the king? She resolved to find out, but first she had to fix the sentinel. That evening, as the automaton stood silently in the corner of the throne room, Alden summoned Lyria. "It remains unstable," he said. I cannot risk it harming anyone else. Please, father, she begged. I've made progress. I just need more time. Before Alden could respond, the automaton's eyes flared red again. It lunged toward the king, its arms raised to strike. The court erupted in screams. Lyria shouted a command, but the automaton didn't stop. Alden grabbed a ceremonial sword from the wall and prepared to defend himself, but Lyria darted forward, placing herself between her father and the machine. "Stop! Override sequence Gamma 3-5 Tower!" she yelled. The automaton froze mid-strike, its red eyes dimming. Lyria collapsed to her knees, shaking. Once the automaton was safely deactivated and secured, Lyria resumed her investigation. This time she examined the Christian core more closely. Her tools revealed a tiny foreign device embedded within, a sabotage mechanism designed to override the automaton's programming. Inside the device she found a message etched in microscript. Her breath caught as she read it. "The true heir of Andavar, the king's protector, must fall." Lyria's blood ran cold. The sabotage wasn't meant to harm her father. It was meant to discredit her and her inventions. The handwriting matched that of Lord Calder, a powerful noble who had long opposed her technological advancements. Armed with the evidence, Lyria confronted her father and the court. Calder attempted to deny the accusations, but the proof was irrefutable. Alden ordered his arrest and banishment, his trust in Lyria restored. "You have always sought to protect this kingdom, Lyria," Alden said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "I doubted you, and for that I am sorry." "I doubted myself," Lyria admitted. "But now I know that progress must always be defended." Weeks later, the automaton stood once more in the throne room, its core restored and its programming untainted. It bowed to the king, its blue eyes glowing steadily. Lyria had added one final touch, a hidden mechanism that recorded every command and action, ensuring no one could tamper with it again. As the court looked on, Lyria whispered to herself, "Let them try. I'll always be ready." And the Clockwork Sentinel stood as a symbol of resilience, a guardian for a kingdom that embraced both tradition and innovation.